forward.
All right, great. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I wish I was there. We have a teen leadership rock and graduation tonight, so I wasn't able to come to be with you in person. But I want to thank you for having the wireless Wi-Fi here so I can present. So as you know, I'm Kristin Ruggiero. I'm the 4-H resource educator with the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Rockland County. And today I'm going to be talking about the 4-H Project Sampler Day. So essentially it's a half-day event with 3 hour-long workshops where youth can choose from options to explore different 4-H opportunities and projects that they can complete. So in Rockland County, we only have 2 4-H clubs, and we do a lot of short-term programs, but there's not a lot of awareness about 4-H or about the extensive benefits and opportunities that are out there. So we don't have a county fair, which really helps to increase visibility in the county. And we also don't have a showcase event. So in the past, we used to have Rockland Fest, which had been organized by the 4-H community, where they would showcase their projects and also lead activities with the public. So we no longer offer that due to budget cuts and staffing limitations. And so there's really no kind of centralized program where youth can see about other different projects and showcase what they've completed. And so since Rockland County is mainly short-term programs, we don't really have a way to bring the 4-H community together. So people from the different programs often don't meet one another, and they don't really feel like part of something bigger. So really, we really would like to offer those kinds of opportunities to make people feel as part of a larger community. So the audience for this would be youth ages 8 to 18, and so current members, 4-H members, and participants. So whether they're in a club program, independent, or in our short-term programs. Also potential 4-H members. We've been trying, I do a lot of promotional events and I talk about 4-H a lot. And so it's helpful to have, this one event where people can come and get a taste of what 4-H is. And so then just youth in the community, general youth through the schools, after-school programs would be basically our target audience. In addition, we'd like to invite parents and guardians, because we want to make sure they understand that 4-H is a family-oriented program. It's not just where you can, not just for after-school activities. It's really something to bring the family together. We also want to inspire 4-H leaders to have activities that they can take along with their programs and with their clubs, and also current and prospective volunteers. We've had several people want to start volunteering in 4-H, but they don't know how they can be involved, or they don't know what 4-H really is. So this is a nice way, again, to introduce them to that. So to grow our audience, I've really been relying a lot on our 4-H advisory committee. So that's made up of retired 4-H leaders and educators, parents, current volunteers, youth who have been active in the program, also teachers, school administrators. And so it is a nice diverse group, and they've been offering a lot of advice and suggestions for how we can reach new audiences and grow the program. I also want to make sure we're giving youth a voice in organizing the event. So I did create a survey. I'm not quite sure how to pull it up, but it's basically an interest survey where I offer a series of workshops that they can choose from, certain days that are available, and then the time frame, and then how likely they would be to come to this event, and if there would be any limitations. So transportation, if the cost would be prohibitive. We're thinking about $10 per workshop, so trying to see what would be feasible for most people. And so I handed those out at the public presentation events to see what their ideas would be. And then I also want to try to make sure I'm sending it out to our 4-H listserv so people can answer online through Qualtrics. And then once we kind of have the program date, we'd like to promote the program through schools, media channels, and other youth-serving organizations. So basically through our contacts, and a lot of the schools have the community flyers on their website, so we'll use that to promote the program. And then also just personally inviting youth. I know having conversations with youth and adults is really helpful, because then I can answer questions and making sure that there's that personal connection to this event. So the goals and objectives. So basically, I selected a series of workshops for the survey, based off of the New York State Fair 4-H Premium book, because I'd like them to have a project that then could go up and be evaluated at New York State Fair in the future. And so I tried to select workshops that from a variety of different program areas that could be done within an hour. And then obviously there would be room for improvement and an extension there. So basically I wanted them to, have STEM projects, have agricultural and horticulture projects, science and engineering, environmental literacy, so recycling. Animal science has been a very popular program here in Rockland. So I want to make sure we have a series of workshops, poultry showmanship, rabbit showmanship, dog obedience. I think those would be very popular programs. And then also just increased understanding of their identity. So what are their abilities? What are their sparks? What really gives them purpose is a really kind of defining characteristic of what we want in this program. And then we also want youth to be able to apply these competencies outside of 4-H. So if they learn a certain skill, like maybe how to make a healthy snack that they could apply to their life, or certain art techniques that they could apply to school. And then, of course, evaluating their projects. So making the best better. What can they do to improve what they've done? And then we also want to make sure that leaders are involved, so that they're helping youth explore their sparks, that they're promoting positive youth development. I also want to make sure that they're incorporating in partnership with youth. So we have a Teen STEM Educators program where teens would lead and facilitate the programs with youth. And so the youth really connected with the teens and they really found mentors in them. So if we can combine the teen leaders with, 4-H leaders and volunteers, that would be really helpful, to bring the community together. So for the activities, we're planning on selecting 6 to 9 project-based workshops. So I kind of already talked about how I selected those major projects. Through the survey, we'll figure out which are the most popular, and then we'll recruit skilled volunteers to lead those workshops. If we know of someone with entomology skills, we'd like to obviously bring them in so that they can answer any questions, and they really someone who's passionate about the activity. We'd also want to make sure we're inviting participants' parents and guardians to join the sessions, so that way, they feel the family connection and that they can also learn the skills to help others. And then, so for the actual day, it would be about 3.5 hours, 1-hour sessions. And then we would want to make sure there's multiple workshop options. So the youth would register ahead of time, select which projects that they want to complete, and then they can go through the program. And really, we want to make sure we're offering continued learning opportunities. So after each session, there could be resources that they can take with them, contact information for the presenter, and then hopefully eventually we'd like to have a showcase event where they can then show what they have completed and what they've improved upon. So for the evaluation, we want to make sure we're observing the participant engagement. So walking around, seeing how the participants are interacting with the activities, with the facilitators, and also capturing anecdotes during the event. So asking youth as, what have you learned? What has been your favorite session so far? What do you think you can use in your life? Those types of things, just to get, regular conversations. And then, of course, at the end, collect the post-event feedback form from the participants and the workshop facilitators. So whether it's a short survey at the event or a call check survey later, just something to really make sure we're capturing candid responses from everyone. And then we'd like to host an evaluative meeting with collaborators. So the 4-H Advisory Committee, any facilitators, the committee members who've helped coordinate the program, to really help them, help us to figure out what went really well, what could be improved, and then the way forward. Then the resources. So as I mentioned, I used the New York State Fair 4-H Youth Building Premium book to see kind of what could be feasible and what was from a range of different options. I really reached out to my old supervisor, Anne-Marie Pilevsky. So she's the retired assistant executive director, and she's been with CCE Rockland for almost 30 years. And so she really helped talk about the history of CCE Rockland, talked about where 4-H, kind of the ups and downs and what really worked and what, really could be a strength going forward. And then Ingrid Hill, I'll shout out to you. So she really helped to talk about the leader smorgasbord that they offer in CC Orange. And so I used kind of a similar format with planning the sessions, like the hour-long workshop, leaving with a finished project. And the 4-H Clover Leaves, back from, I think, when I was in 4-H, about 2004, 2005, they had a interesting workshops and talked about how they set up their program and different workshop offerings, which was helpful for me. And then obviously my 4-H advisory committee, the diverse perspectives really helped to think about and talk through things for the program. All right, so that is essentially an overview of the 4-H Project Sampler Day. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Dana Palmer's got a question.
What time of year are you hoping to host an event like this?
Yeah, so ideally, I mean, we would like to do this summer. It's kind of, things have kind of gotten away from us a little bit, but ideally in the summer, hopefully for next year, it could be offered in the spring, because then we could follow it up with later with a showcase event in the summer. So that way, they can be introduced to different projects and activities, get the resources for other opportunities, and then have the showcase event in the summertime before the state fair.
Great. Any other thoughts, or have you thought about kinds of suggestions or things that you want to share back? I think it's great that, so one of our hopes with PDLC is that we're building collegial partnerships and mentoring relationships. And so just the fact that she gave you a shout out, Ingrid, and, I mean, learning from other colleagues, how they're approaching, recruiting new membership, I think it's great. So
yeah, that has been really helpful. Sure.
Kristin, I was going to say, when you were describing the event, it reminded me of the University U experience, in the sense of, and I'm not sure how familiar you've been involved in that, but just different opportunities to get a sample of the different offerings, highlighting kind of the best of what's going on in the program. It's really neat, and I think it worked out really well. I haven't thought of that being done in reverse. Usually I'm here to do that.
Kristin, have you come to CareerX before?
Yeah, I haven't done the University U. I'm kind of familiar with what they do, but I've done the teen programs. But yeah, it is kind of like that.
The only difference would be this would be stretched out over a day and a half, and the youth would rotate to different workshops, up to 6 over those 2 days. But the type of experience, it sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you.
The 4-H STEM program work team held a science sampler day, so that was focused just on STEM activities. But it worked very similar to what you're proposing. It was really successful. So I think you're right on the mark for your plan.
Okay. Could you hear that? Okay.
Yes, there's the STEM sampler day, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
Yes, I've wanted to go to that because I have seen really great introduction to projects.
We'll get you on the planning team.
There you go. So it begins. Leland?
Kristin, it's Leland. I love that you incorporated youth voice. I think that our 4-H members are some of our best advocates, salespeople for our program. So getting them on board, I think, is a really, really good idea.
Thank you.
Absolutely.